Today's episode of the Purple Chair podcast really hits a hot button with me. It's probably going to be really polarizing, but we're going to break down hair type, hair texture, and see if skin color go hand in hand. Hello, and welcome to the Purple Chair podcast, my purple queendom and my unique little corner of the universe, where I get to create magic. I'm Lara Labuda, your scissor wizard, your color alchemist, and lover of all things purple. And the Purple Chair is a cozy little hair salon located above my favorite metaphysical shop in Columbia, South Carolina. And yes, my chair is purple and my shears are purple. Take 972 on episode 15. I want to welcome you today. We're going to be talking about hair type, hair texture, and skin color. Do they go hand in hand? We're going to find out. Typically, like attracts like. So take a look at your friends. Do you look like your friends? Because sometimes I noticed the other day that Rachel, who used to work with me, and Chrissy, who's here now, and me, we kind of all look like triplets. So I didn't do that on purpose. I just realized the other day when we all had masks on that we all look the same from here up. So it's a thing. So if you're a hairdresser, you're probably most comfortable working on someone's hair that is like your hair. Because let's face it, you're the expert on your hair because you wear it, you fix it, and you understand how it works. My hair is wavy. It's kind of a medium texture. And I understand that really well, which is an advantage for me if somebody has the same hair type and texture that I have. Last week, I had a customer come in and tell me a story about cutting her husband's hair. You know, the COVID haircuts. You guys all had to do it. We were closed down for 8 weeks, so you have to do what you have to do. So she was intimidated by cutting his hair not because it was the haircut itself. She was fine with that, no big deal. But the fact that his hair was different from hers, and she has hair that is straight, it's fine, it's fluffy, it kind of floats around everywhere. She needs a very specific product, she needs a very specific hairstyle. And he has very coarse, very curly, very textured hair. And so when she was cutting his hair, it made her nervous because she wasn't quite sure how to handle it because it's different from hers. And it is intimidating to cut someone's hair that isn't like yours. And I think that's why I really like to cut curly hair, because my hair can be curly if I make it. And I understand what drives me crazy about curly hair. So I love a curly haircut. So way back when I was in hair school, I went to Paul Mitchell. So I went to Paul Mitchell, and they have this rule where you can't refuse a service. If you do, you're like out for the day or written up or something like that. I can't remember. It's been a while, but you can't refuse a service at Paul Mitchell. So you get the ticket, you get what you get. You can't complain about it. You just take it. You use it as a learning opportunity, and it is what it is. Equally, a customer can't refuse a future professional based on what they look like. So it goes kind of both ways. And it is intimidating working on someone's hair that isn't like your hair. So it was a Saturday. I'm never going to forget this day. It's like burned into my memory. It was a Saturday, and I got my ticket, and it was a shampoo haircut, and I'm like, great, it's gonna be a really quick, like, in and out haircut, no big deal. And the name is written across the top of the ticket, so I go up and I go look for my guest, and I call her name out, and I took one look at her, and I instantly felt this feeling of dread, like I thought I was gonna have to throw up in my bag because I was so nervous to do her hair. So I have her come, and I have her sit down, and, you know, she's telling me what she wants, and she's like, I don't want a whole lot off. I just kind of want it shaped up just a little bit. And I'm like, okay, all right. So we do the consultation, then I go get my learning leader, who's my teacher, and shout out to Miss Rob for helping me out with this. I know she'll remember this day too. So I literally walked up to my learning leader and I looked at her and I said, I can't do this. I don't know what to do. I was terrified. I need to breathe into a paper bag because I don't know if I'm going to make it through this haircut, because this woman had the most beautiful hair. She had a most beautiful haircut already. It just needed a little bit of tweaking. And I really didn't want to mess up her hair. So let me back up half a step. She had the most gorgeous hair. It was unbelievable. And it's a haircut that I have not learned how to do in my core class. It was a haircut that I've never cut before. And Miss Rob just took me by the hand and she said, Laura, you're going to learn today. You're going to learn how to cut an afro. And I did. I sure did. She took me every step of the way. She basically held my hand through the haircut. I just didn't want to mess up this lady's hair because honestly, it's one of my favorite haircuts. Just because it's so gorgeous. I can't stop saying that. It's just amazing. It's my favorite haircut. But she held my hand every step of the way, and I got through that haircut, and I learned so much about me as a hair cutter. Customers, I learned so much about the people I'm working with, but I was most intimidated because she had hair that is not like mine. It was completely different from mine. And it scared the shit out of me. Seriously. But I made it through it and I didn't die. So when I was done with the haircut, she loved it. She said I did a great job. She even requested me again. So I got to cut her hair 3 times, I think, while I was in school. Yeah, 3-ish, maybe 2. But more than once, she gave me an opportunity. And maybe it was because of my attention to detail or my willingness to learn. But after that experience, I knew that hair type and texture and skin color, it doesn't matter. It all it's all about the hair. Hair is hair. I'm going to say that until the day I die. Hair is hair. If you have a friend right now and you're looking at them, look over and they probably have hair. Look in your mirror. I bet you have hair. Everyone you know has had a haircut at least once. That's job security. But there are very specific hair types and textures. So you can either have straight, wavy, curly, extra curly. And you can have fine, medium, and coarse. And then you can have your density, which is fine, medium, and coarse as well. So the density is the amount of hair that you have on your head, and everyone, it varies between everyone. And throughout your life, you may have a higher density, lower density. It all is based on hormones. But your hair texture is how thick or thin one strand of hair is. So if you take one hair off of your head, I'm going to do it for science here. I'm going to pull a hair out of my head. You probably won't be able to even see it. I'm not faking it, I promise. That's more than one. Hang on. Yanking my hair out. Oh, got one. All right, so I've got one hair here. If you're watching me, I don't know if you can see that, but take one hair out, and if you roll it around in your fingers and close your eyes, can you feel it? If you cannot feel it, you have a fine texture of hair. If you can kind of feel it, but you're not quite sure, then you have a medium texture hair. But you can kind of feel it, but sometimes you can't feel it. But if you feel like it's rolling around in your fingers like a pencil, just like this, that is a coarse texture of hair. So you can have fine, medium, and coarse. So if you take that hair and you slide your fingers down one way from the root to the end, if you slide your finger down, it should be smooth. But if you flip it upside down, it's going to give you just a little bit of resistance. You're going to feel the resistance as you slide down the wrong way. And what you're feeling is the layers of cuticle. And the reason that you can feel your hair in your hand or your fingers, between your fingers, is because of the amount of layers of cuticle that you have on one strand of hair. Is that not the most fascinating thing you've ever heard of? Yeah, it's way cool. So with a finer hair, there's like, I have to look it up, like about 6 layers of cuticle, but you can have up to 18 layers of cuticle on your hair. And the cuticle, they're like shingles on a roof. They kind of open and close based on pH and chemicals and heat and cool. And so the texture is basically just the amount of layers of cuticle that you have on your hair. Now, your hair can either be straight, wavy, curly, extra curly. So I want you to think about pasta. We're going to talk about pasta. So the way your hair grows out of your head is your hair type. So just like you're a kid and you have Play-Doh and an extruder and you push your pasta like a spaghetti or your Play-Doh through a hole that is perfectly round, it's just going to come straight out and go like this. Bloop, just straight out and straight down. So out of your follicle, you guys with straight hair, your follicle is round, so your hair is coming straight out and straight down. The more curly your hair gets, the more oval shape your hair follicle is. So if you ever see a video of pasta coming out of an extruder that is like this, it's that spiral pasta, right? So if you push Play-Doh through this, it's going to come out and it's going to go like this, doot, 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 round and round and round and round. So think about that. If you have straight hair, you're going to feel like your hair is growing so much faster than somebody with curly hair, because straight hair just comes out and goes down. Curly hair has to go around and around and around and around and around. But if you pull it straight, they're probably the same length, right? So you have coarse, medium, fine, straight, wavy, curly, extra curly. And I can tell you that there's a small correlation. There's a generalization that if you have this skin color, then your hair color or your hair type and texture could possibly be whatever. But that is not always the case. And the reason I know it is because I have the widest variety of customers that sit in my chair. I have girls that have really fine, extra curly hair that have really light skin. And I have beautiful, straight, coarse hair on darker skin. I've seen it all. It really, I've seen it all. It's crazy. And I'm really glad that I get to work with a wide variety of people, because I just don't want to lock myself into doing one type of hair, because yeah, I get to do my hair every day. I want to work on something different when I come to work. I want to do something different. Now I'll tell you, I'm a colorist. I like to do haircuts and I like to do hair colors. I don't specialize in perms, permanent waves, or relaxers. It's just not what I feel confident in doing, so I would always refer that out to somebody else. But if you want me to color your hair and you have straight extra curly hair or coarse extra curly hair, I'm your girl, because I really do understand what it takes to get through those layers of cuticle to get that color to go inside. So I'm always asked the question, do you just do white hair? Or can you do black hair? I'm like, oh, I can totally color your hair black or white, but white is really high maintenance. You have to come in for a tone every couple of weeks. Look, I know what they're asking me, but I work on hair and nice people. Because I think it's important. I think it's important because we should all look good. We all deserve to feel good. We all deserve to look good. And sometimes you can have hair type and texture that goes with this skin tone, but it's not always the case. Not always the case. And you know what? There's nothing more satisfying in this world than to make extra curly hair straight. I literally live for those moments. Yeah, I have a couple of blowouts that come in on occasion, and I just get in the zone, and I just nice and sleek and smooth, no lumps, no bumps. And the reason that I have gotten the opportunity to learn these techniques and working with hair type that isn't like mine is because I stepped out of the comfort zone. I made it a point to work on something that didn't look like me. I thought that was really important. Curly hair does require different things and different hair products versus straight hair. So I have a curl defining cream that I like to use to define curls. But equally, if I use that on someone who has curly hair to make their hair straight, because it's going to hold their hair in a curl pattern, it's going to hold it straight as well. That's not going to work on a girl with straight hair that wants to have it a little bit more curly, unless she's using a hot tool to make her hair curly. But the reason that curly hair requires more moisture packed into your hair is if you think about the way the hair grows, right? We talked about the hair coming straight out and straight down versus coming around like this. If you think about it, the only layer that is being exposed to the outside world on someone with straight hair is that very top layer, maybe the second layer underneath. Now, I'm not talking about that 3-layer haircut. Okay. The top layer of your hair, like what's exposed to the outside on straight hair, is a lot less than what curly hair is. So if you think about curly hair, it's pushing and it's moving, and there are multiple layers being pushed to the outside, and it's not all on the outside at the same time. And so it's more of it's being exposed to the outside world and the elements than our straight haired counterparts. So that's the reason that you need more moisture in curly products, is because there's more quote unquote damage happening to curly hair. And curly hair is no joke. Curly hair is no joke, because once you find the right regimen of products, as soon as you figure out what it is that you like and it works for you, the weather changes and the humidity changes. And we're here in South Carolina, so that's like what, on a daily basis? Like it's 90% humidity and it's not raining every day here. That you have to take that into account too, because once you find that regimen, like it changes and it's annoying. I get it. You curly girls buy 3 times the amount of products in the straight hair their straight hair counterparts. Paul Mitchell did a whole thing they had a whole campaign about curly girls and information about curly hair. I went off on a tangent about curly hair. I love it. So I'm going to talk about one more thing with curly hair, and it's that triangle shape haircut. And you curly girls out there know that once you find that right person to cut your hair, they're like gold in your pocket, because they are, when I'm looking at a haircut for a curly person, it's so much more about the shape overall. Just like the lady with the afro, when I was terrified in hair school, when my teacher told me to step back and look at the shape. And that's when all the hair cutting things clicked for me. So I think that's why I've made it my mission to focus a lot on curly hair. Now I cut all wide varieties of hair. It doesn't matter. Straight, wavy, curly, extra curly, coarse, medium, fine, whatever. All hair. As long as it's grown out of your head, I'll cut it. But when you take a step back and you look at that curly haircut, the overall shape has to make sense. Because if it doesn't make sense, then the haircut is never going to live for 6, 8, 10 weeks. My curly girls come every 8 weeks, maybe every 6 weeks, because their haircut grows out properly. So it's an overall shape. It's like sculpting. And I know when you're in school, you learn systems and techniques on how to cut for, you learn specific haircuts and how to put those on people's heads. But if it doesn't work for that person, it's not the right haircut for them. So curly hair. I love curly hair. So, now that we talked about hair type, texture, skin tone, curly hair, back in 2010, I used to live in California. Believe it or not, I was a West Coast girl. And I was not a hairdresser at this time. I was a face painter at SeaWorld, and I got an opportunity while I was a face painter at SeaWorld. To the church that I was going to, I got an opportunity to go teach art in Africa. I got to go to Namibia. And Namibia is the country that is, if you can imagine where South Africa is, Namibia looks like, well, it's backwards for you, but right for me. So Namibia is up into the west, like northwest, and it kind of looks like this. And I was here in Windhoek. That's how they do it when you get off the airplane. They tell you where you are. And let me tell you, that was a life-changing adventure trip. And it hadn't everything to do with teaching art. It was just being around a different culture and a different people. And I thought that I have seen really dark skin in America, but I had no idea. I mean, I had imagined dark skin tones. Those are some of the most beautiful people I've ever seen in my life. Their skin was flawless, so dark. It was so beautiful. In fact, when I was face painting this lady's skin, she had the most flawless, she had no hair on her skin at all. And the colors, my color palette, the yellows, it was green, I think, and yellow and orange. It just like popped on her skin, and it was flawless. It was like painting on glass. It was unbelievable. So that was unbelievable. That was a trip of a lifetime. And I remember sitting there with one of my little classes. So I would teach these classes out on a tarp. We put a tarp out in the field, and I would just do a drawing class, and all these kids would start running up. And at the end, we'd all get together, and I was sitting with the kids, and they're all just like piled on top of me. And I thought it would be fun to like tickle their feet, but because they didn't have any shoes ever in their life, like their feet were so rough that I couldn't tickle them on their feet. I thought that was crazy fascinating. So while we were sitting there, speaking of the nose, the hair on the face, the little kids would pull at my arm hair, and they're like, why do you have arm hair? I don't know, just how I'm made. And so they thought that was really fascinating. And then they asked me, could they plait my hair, to braid my hair? And they would braid my hair and it wouldn't hold. So a little hair type, skin texture, hair type, skin color, hair texture. I'm tongue-tied. I don't even know where I'm going with that. Sorry. It's just a mixture of amazing, beautiful things, and we should all love each other for who we are. Sorry, I made a face. It makes me so angry. I just want to love you. And I love you for who you are. So, until next time, don't forget to check out my social media, Facebook, Instagram, our website, thepurplechairsalon.com. You can book an appointment online now. So there's that. Hey. Or you can call or text the shop here, and we'll get you in for an appointment, especially curly girls out there. Thank you. Have a great day. Have the best day ever. Bye.